It's been a really long time. Camera's over here. It's been a really long time since I've made a vlog. I've just, been killing time, gossiping. Just kidding, I'm not gossiping. So it's been a crazy couple of months, not gonna lie. My last video, I think, was do's and don'ts for amusement parks. Right after I did that video, as you guys all know, that I do have a boyfriend, and he finally is out here. Yay! He's finally out here, and yeah, so a lot has happened since then. He ended up moving a little bit after that video, like a couple weeks later. So this whole thing happened with my roommate. I do not live in that house anymore, but it's such a crazy story, guys. Like, ridiculous. Like, you would not believe it. Like, crazy. So the way we ended up in that apartment was he moved to Idaho because I had talked with my roommate because she got engaged, she got married, and she's pregnant. And the point is that he moved over here because my roommate, Susanna. Point is that she and her boyfriend ended up getting this like apartment or like townhome, and so she moved out of the house. She had told me that she was going to move out, and she didn't tell me when she actually moved out. She just like one day never came home. She ended up telling me like, oh yeah, like we have our own townhome. And so I asked her, I was like, do you need me to move out, or like what's the plan here? And so she was like, oh no, like you can stay in the house. My parents are planning to take the house next year in February, but you can stay until then. And I was like, okay, so I have until February to find a new place that gives me and Izzy plenty of time to save money and get a new place that we can afford. Fast forward, I go to California, I pick up Izzy, I'm gone for like a week, and I come back, and I texted Susanna, and she didn't text me back. So she kind of had that like reputation though. She just would never ever text me back about anything, and it was just so annoying. Over everything, like overall, she wasn't a bad roommate. She was a great roommate. It was just until the end where she like could have done better. But so she, this isn't like me, all over her. Like, this is not a bad video on her. All right, so I let her know that I was back, and then like that day or like the next day that we got back, her dad comes into the house, and Izzy's in the shower, so he's taking a shower and I'm in the room taking a nap. And so he knocks on my door, I come out, and he's like, oh, can I talk to you for a second? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he starts saying like, oh, I don't know if Susanna has talked to you, but I need you out of the house. And I was just like, oh, well, I talked to Susanna, and she gave me the understanding that I was here until February. Like, she didn't tell me that you guys were going to be moving in anytime soon. He's like, oh, no, I told Susanna that I needed you guys out of the house by the 17th of November. But it was already past Thanksgiving, or like it was getting to Thanksgiving, something like that. And I was like, oh, well, when do you need us out by? Like, I was thinking maybe like January or like end of December. And he said, as soon as you can. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, so he had quit his job, his wife has quit his job, their bosses were renting them the house that they're living in. So he was like, we're moving in on December. It was like in a couple of days. And I was like, okay, well, can you give me 1 month? With that phrase, my intention was saying like, oh, can we just live here for 1 month while we find a place? Like, you guys can move in your stuff. Like, before her dad had talked to me about it, I was telling Susanna, I was like, oh, hey, like I'm back. And then she had said, oh yeah, my parents are going to be moving in sooner than I thought. But she didn't tell me what day. And I was like, okay, like how early? Like, do you think they're going to let me stay here for a little bit while I find a new place? And she was like angry and getting mad and sending me these texts in all caps. And she was just like, my parents are not effing gonna live with you. It's their house. You gotta get out and leave. Like, she escalated the situation so freaking far. But next week I'll give you guys a new update about part 2 of this story. Go ahead and click that like and subscribe button, guys. Don't forget to put your little notifications on, the little bell thing down there. And I'm glad to be back and getting back to normal with you guys. So hopefully, God willing, I will be able to do another video next week with part 2 of this story. Peace.